What's up, everybody? It's Monkey Farm, and today we are going to go over the basics of mob spawning. So, for those of you who have been playing Minecraft for a while, you probably will know all or most of this information already. This is for a lot of the new players who just started playing Minecraft, and you know, they watch videos. Like I have a bunch of videos on different spawners I've built in my previous worlds and my current Let's Play world, and I get questions on a daily basis. I'm trying to build a spawner like yours, but the mobs won't spawn, or they aren't dropping down into the trap. All sorts of different questions on a daily basis. So I figured it'd be a good idea to just go through all the basics. So for all those new players out there that have just picked up the new game and are really getting into it and want to have a successful mob spawner in their own world, I figured I would try to give you guys all of the details that definitely have helped me out since I started playing a few months ago. Okay, so we're over in a test world here, and I first wanted to show you the type of blocks that mobs will spawn on. So obviously stone, grass, dirt, cobblestone, pretty much any type of stone, including sand, gravel, even wool, the ores, like gold and iron. They'll even spawn on blocks that have other things on them, like flowers, grass, even railroad tracks. They will spawn there, and they will not spawn on glass or half slabs of any kind. And so, for those of you who see people having a test world, everybody has a test world that has half slabs on it because they can test out mob spawners and, no mobs will spawn on the flat area. Now, one important thing, now this looks strange, but I will explain it. Oh, look, I'm on a slime chunk. Okay, so anyway, uh, so mobs will not spawn if you are within 24 blocks of them. So that's what this 24 block, and that is in every direction. So if you are down in a cave, mobs will not spawn above you, below you, to any direction to the side for 24 blocks. But then they will spawn up to, or I should say, within a 144 block area. So they will spawn in this entire area. That's where the obsidian comes in. That is how far away from you they will spawn. So if you're building a large mob spawner, you're going to need to light up all of the caves underground in a huge area. Otherwise, little monsters like these will spawn down there, and they will not spawn in your spawner. So that will decrease the efficiency of your spawner. So the next thing is the height of the mobs and how high do you want to build your mob spawner. It depends what type of mob you're trying to spawn. If you wanted to have only a spider spawner, all you need is a 1 block high room and they can spawn in here. Obviously, spawners, you want to have many pads. You want to have as big of an area as you can so that they will spawn. This is just a kind of a small pad example. Most spawners have multiple layers as well, so that increases the number of mobs that will spawn in that room. Okay, so here's spiders. Then the typical mob is 2 blocks high. That is the skeletons, creepers, zombies. Those mobs, they will all spawn in an area that's only 2 blocks high. Then you have the new guys like the Endermen, which are 3 blocks high. In other words, Endermen cannot spawn in this room, but all of the other smaller mobs can spawn in a room like this. So we can have Endermen, creepers, zombies, spiders, all of those type of mobs. Now, so if you're doing slimes, for example, if you have a slime farm, since they are 3 blocks high as well, it's generally a good idea to have a 4 block high room at least for them because in 3 blocks, or you can even do 2 blocks, but slimes are weird where sometimes they kind of glitch out and get stuck in the walls or get stuck in the ceiling. I think a lot of that has been fixed with the newer releases, but it's still kind of weird where they can get stuck or glitch out in the game. But anyway, that's up to you on what type of mobs you are trying to spawn. Okay, so now there are other things you can do to prevent other mobs from spawning. Now, for example, you've probably seen these in a lot of different spawner videos where you've seen half slabs, and this will prevent spiders from spawning. There's something weird that that's kind of weird with spiders. If you have a room like this and you have a wall, whoops. So if you had a wall here, spiders could spawn here occasionally. Now it's really weird because they say they need like a 3 by 3 area, but it's just really weird. So sometimes you have to be careful how big the room is. Now the other important thing, and I think I touched on it a little bit over here, is lighting. You need a very dark room to have the most efficient mob spawner. The darker the better, just keep that as a general rule. Spawner pad size is very important, and just what your girlfriend tells you. Same goes with mob spawner pads. Except it's kind of the opposite. You don't want it too big, because what'll happen is the mobs will stand around here and they will never jump off into your trap. So you don't want to build a room for them to hang out and party in. You want to get them into your trap, and so you can collect the drops. Creepers drop gunpowder for TNT. That's always fun, and skeletons give you arrows and bones and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, keep that in mind. The 6 by 6 with the 4 half slabs is kind of the typical spawner pad design, and what you generally do is take whatever size spawner pad you're using and build a bunch of them next to each other, because what you're going to do is either build something that with canals with water, that basically the mobs will spawn here, obviously in the dark. You'll have the room closed off, and then they will eventually walk off here and be pushed into a trap of some sort. There's another big decision you need to make is, one, do you want to build your spawner underground, or do you want to build it up in the air? Now, the ones up in the air are generally pretty ugly, and I don't really like them, but that's what I'm using at the moment because Endermen teleport away from water. And that makes spawners like these that have water canals pushing the mobs around, it makes it difficult because you can't have Endermen in there. So if you want Endermen, you're going to have to really do a spawner that's up in the air, or you're going to have to build it, in the ground, but then have your pickup point, where you're going to collect all the loot, way down underground. So that's your choice, whatever you want to do. Now here's a design. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's, there are other videos out there. This is Etho's design. He's pretty much the guy who invented the mob spawner kind of system, or at least pushed it very far forward. This is basically a canal that pushes the mobs into the center from any direction, and then the mobs swim up, and then you build a trap up here. So this would be for an underground spawner. Now the other example, now I forgot to turn mobs off before I started this, so obviously there are a ton of them in here, and I want to show you how they tend to stand around if you're not in the area. So a lot of people have been asking me, I have mobs in my spawner, but they're not dropping down into my XP farm. And by XP farm, I mean it's a place where you can kill all the mobs and collect the XP orbs, for the to enchant your swords and your armor and all that good stuff. So notice how those guys are just standing there. It's like they don't know where they are or what they're doing. But if I start getting closer, they will start walking around. And when they start walking around, they will fall into the mob, the canals, and the trap. So let me get the light back up a little bit here. Okay, so you'll notice that now that I'm in the general area, a ton more mobs are falling down, where before none of them were. So, and this is kind of a change that's taken place just for the new release. They've kind of nerfed the whole mob behavior, and I think it's basically because well, either Notch and Jeb wanted to either give us a challenge so that we can rebuild all of our mob spawners, or they hate mob spawners and they don't want us to reap the benefits of having them all in one place where we can collect all the loot, because that's what we do this for, is to collect all the arrows and the gunpowder and all that stuff. So look, now this place is practically empty because I've been in the area. So keep that in mind, where you can't just go off into the wilderness and expect your mob spawner to work, while you're not around. The mobs will not drop down. Generally speaking, of course, you'll always get a few stragglers, but that's kind of the basics here. So what I'd like you guys to do, for any people that do still have questions, is this is kind of the basics of mob spawning. What I recommend is test out a few things, build a room up in the air or build one way down underground, and just kind of try to study the mobs and see what they do, and go out and watch videos of different mob spawners. Etho has some good ones on that design. I have a bunch of mob spawner videos. Some of them don't even work anymore because the game has changed how it behaves and all that. But study up, and you'll figure out which one works for you and which one you want to build in your world. And it should be fun. Don't get frustrated. We're all kind of frustrated with the changes they made in the game. We just have to deal with the changes and keep improving our design. So, if you guys have more questions, feel free to leave them in the comment box. I will do my best to answer, any questions that I can, and I'm sure other people that are watching the video will leave their responses as well of, things that they've figured out by building their own spawners. And a lot of it's trial and error, but hopefully this information gives you a good, basic background on how you can build a good spawner and be successful with it, and kill a bunch of mobs and collect a bunch of loot. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I have videos coming out every few days. And yeah, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll talk to you later.